This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Cabo Jim Schaller.
Welcome, good neighbors, to episode number 157 of the Good Neighbor Podcast, Estero. Today we have good neighbor Rick Varela from Kinetico Water Systems in Southwest Florida. Welcome, Rick.
Good morning, Jim. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to meet people in the community here and learn what they do. So without further ado, let's jump right in. And why don't you share a little bit about what you do over at Kinetico?
Jim, good morning. We focus on giving our customers cleaner, better, healthier drinking water. If you've looked in the news lately, you've seen that PFAS, which is forever chemicals, and microplastics, unfortunately, are making it to our food and water supply. So that's one of the things that we focus on giving customers healthier water.
Very good. And that's important. That's, especially nowadays with the water systems and everything that's getting put into the waters down here. So let's back up your story a little bit. How did you get involved in this industry?
Well, I've been here for about 3 years. My background is a sales engineer. I used to work for a company called Kodak. For those of you that have been around, probably remember what Kodak is.
Yeah.
For you new folks, you're probably scratching your head and said, I've never heard of it. So I was a sales engineer there for 30 years, and my best friend / brother has worked here for Kinetico for almost 14 years. And, he always had nothing but accolades to say about Kinetico, the products, and the company as a whole. And this territory manager position opened up because my predecessor was retiring. So I was encouraged to apply. And after 4 interviews, I decided to, let me put my name in the hat. I'm not a salesperson per se. I used to do sales support. So I wanted to make my own homework, do my own research into what Kinetico is and what actual users had to say about our product and services. So after I did my own research, talked to other people, talked to actual users, then I decided to give the okay to put my name in the hat. And so here I am.
And here you are. There we go. Well, we've all had some type of maybe challenge or obstacle along our journey that we've gone through, and and hopefully has made us better in the long run, that we can look back at now and say, you know what, I'm in a better place maybe because I went through that. Is there something that happened along your journey?
I used to work for a company doing implementation, ERP implementation work, and that was pretty challenging, let me tell you. One of the things coming from a technical / sales support was sometimes customers are promised services or features and functionalities that you, as the person that's implementing the software, know that what they were promised is not even a functionality we have. So that's something that I lost a lot of hair. I know you guys can't see me on camera, and it goes contrary to our Kinetico, to our Kinetico commercial where it's all about the hair. But that was a challenging moment in my life, and it obviously did put strain on both personal relationships and stuff. But I overcame it, and I'm very thankful I did go through that experience. If anything, it taught me that you are always honest, you're always truthful, and that you always do what's right for the customer and not what's right for you just to get a sale.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So surrounding what you're doing currently, are there any maybe myths or misconceptions that we could clear up for our listeners?
Jim, I think one of the biggest misconceptions out there, and this is from an equipment standpoint, is a lot of customers will ask you for a saltless water softener. And what I tell them is that there is no such thing as a saltless water softener. There's a lot of misconceptions around that. There is such a thing as a saltless water conditioner, but it's two different applications. And I think that's where taking the time and explaining it to the customer kind of helps them make the right decision as to what it is they're truly looking for.
Absolutely. And speaking along those lines, are there any things that are, I'm going to say, maybe new or trending within your industry?
I think the focus right now has shifted more from what we would call point of entry. Point of entry would be whole home systems, whether they're whole home water treatment systems that would include things like water softeners, conditioners, and so on, into more of a health related focus. During the course of the interview, we talked about how today they're finding more and more microplastics in food and in water and the forever chemicals. So that's kind of where the industry is kind of going more into. A lot of people will tell you that you are what you eat, but the reality is that you also are what you drink.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
back in the day, we used to drink out of the garden hose.
yeah, back in the day, we didn't have all the chemicals we have in the water today. Unfortunately, I remember those days running barefoot down the in the front of the yard and drinking the garden hose, and I don't know if I do that today.
Not at all. Not at all. Absolutely. So, are you from Southwest Florida originally? You mentioned you work for Kodak, so I'm assuming probably not, right?
I'm actually a Miami transplant. I moved here from Miami in 2001. I lived in Miami from 66 to 01. And then got tired of the Miami, got too busy, too crowded for me. So my wife and I moved over here to the West Coast. We've been here since.
Very nice. And I know your job can be very demanding and not a lot of free time, but when you do have a couple of moments, what do you enjoy doing?
I'm a big Jeep fan. I've had Jeep since I was 14 years old. I'm going on 61. Thank God you guys can't see me. You'd be calling me a liar. But I love Jeeps. I just actually bought an old 1984 CJ7 that I am in the process of bringing it back to life. I already have a 98 Sahara, but I bought this with the intention of restoring it and giving it to my daughter so that they have their own Jeep.
Very nice, very nice. And who doesn't love a Jeep in Florida, especially with the weather down here?
Yeah, especially you. Yeah.
So is there one thing you wish our listeners knew about Kinetico that maybe they're not aware of?
I like to convey the message that we are a very, very ethical company, and that when we recommend products, we always think of what's right for the customer instead of thinking of what's right for us. There's situations where I've gone where a customer has equipment that's working, and I tell them, listen, your equipment is working. You should really, once this one stops working, then give me a call back. No sense in you, going through that investment right now if what you have is working.
Absolutely. And putting the customer first is important. There's a lot of people out there nowadays that's not a priority anymore.
Absolutely.
So how do our listeners go about contacting you if they had questions or concerns they needed answers to?
Sure. Jim, they can reach out to me directly at area code 239-826-9860, or they can call the office at area code 239-908-2300 and just ask for Rick Varela.
Perfect. Rick, any last words for our listeners?
I always tell customers that this business is like everything else. You get what you pay for. Always do your research. If I tell you the grass is green, when you walk me out of your door, make sure the grass is green. Don't take any slick willies, word for it. There's a lot of, unfortunately, just like everything else in life, there's, some unscrupulous individuals out there. Just do your homework. Do your research, and know that when you're dealing with Kinetico, you're dealing with a very ethical company that stands 150% behind its customers, its products, its services, and its people.
Very good. Rick, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for being such a good neighbor, and I hope to see you out in the community soon.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to all your listeners out there, and hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Estero. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpestero.com. That's gnpestero.com. Or call 239-296-2621.
There we go. Very good.